Tonight, the minority in Parliament makes explosive claims accusing the Bank of Ghana of being technically insolvent and blaming Goldbod's operations for crippling the central bank's balance sheet and pushing it to the brink.
At the end of last year, negative 6.7% of GDP. Our central bank is technically bankrupt, therefore, and the single biggest driver of that collapse in the 2025 was gold operations, Goldbod.
We got details as Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin claims Goldbod is bleeding money but using accounting tricks to disguise losses as profits.
What we are witnessing is a disingenuous accounting arrangement, clean on the surface, dirty in substance, and it is ordinary Ghanaian taxpayer who is left carrying the risk. That ends today. We are asking straightforward questions.
Top story is brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a Holy Sleep Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. When we return from the break, we have a full-blown showdown over Ghana's gold and the health of the Bank of Ghana. All coming up after the break.
If I become a millionaire, I will put a huge billboard right next to my ex's house saying, "Look at me now, I hate it."
As for me, I'm quitting my job in Star. I hate it.
Telecel is making millionaires this season. Not one, not two,
But 3 millionaires
each month. One lucky Telecel customer wins 1 million Ghana cedis for the next 3 months in the Telecel Mahetse promo. Plus, you still get to win 20,000 Ghana cedis weekly and 100 Ghana cedis daily. Bundle 10 Ghana cedis, airtime or data. Top up your Telecel cash wallet or your fixed broadband to stand a chance of winning. Visit the Telecel Play app or dial star 500 hash to opt in for free into the Telecel Mahetse promo.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
If you want quality, this be where you belong. Hey, tough, hey, strong. Oh, Ghana shout, sing the song. When the sun they hot, syntax no break. When the rain they fall, still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you've truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy whilst retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us once again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is offering a generous 15% discount on all school items, including textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and more, across all branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, Winnipeg, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stock lasts. For more information, information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302 764 209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Good evening. This is Top Story. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi. Tonight, the minority in Parliament has turned its guns on the Bank of Ghana, accusing it of being technically insolvent and putting the blame squarely on Goldbod's operations. Over the past few weeks, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin and Goldbod CEO Sammy Gyamfi have traded accusations over the company's operations. The minority insists Goldbod is making losses but is allegedly cooking the books to present them as profits. However, Goldbod CEO Sammy Gyamfi maintains that the company's audited financial statements show otherwise, dismissing the minority leader's claims as a figment of his, quote, hallucinatory imagination, unquote. Well, today, the minority caucus intensified its criticism of Goldbod at a news conference in Parliament, insisting that the company's operations have rendered the Bank of Ghana technically insolvent.
The Bank of Ghana's equity stood at negative 93.8 billion cedis at the end of last year. Negative 6.7% of GDP. Our central bank is technically bankrupt, therefore. And the single biggest driver of that collapse in the 2025 was gold operations, Goldbod. Goldbod's own domain, 22 billion cedis. That's equivalent of the 1.7 billion US dollars in 1 year alone. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it what it is. These losses are not bad luck. You don't trade in gold and make losses. They are not a difficult market. They expose the crass incompetence of Goldbod's management and misaligned policy of the government. No serious institution loses this much money by accident. This is what happens when an untouchable few are handed the nation's gold with no one watching and no one willing to ask questions. Ghanaians have already sacrificed much to keep this economy standing. We tighten our belt for the sake of stability. That is why it is so painful to watch this scheme quietly give away sums that will make any right-thinking citizens weep.
That there was Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin speaking to journalists in Parliament earlier. Well, he also continued his onslaught against the Ghana Goldbod, insisting that it has made losses dressed up as accounting gimmicks.
What we are witnessing is a disingenuous accounting arrangement, clean on the surface, dirty in substance, and it is ordinary Ghanaian taxpayer who is left carrying the risk. That ends today. We are asking straightforward questions, and we expect straightforward answers. Who are the off-takers? Why were sales discounted? And why is the mandate to trade gold on the country's behalf producing losses the country was never told about? Now, let me deal with the numbers Ghana cannot ignore. The IMF tells us that 17% of the value of every ounce of gold sold by the Bank of Ghana simply disappeared. It vanished into the gap between the rates paid to miners and the rate used for the books. Add the fees paid to the middlemen. Add the discounts handed to off-takers. This is not rounding error. This is not teething trouble. This is a structural bleeding of our national purse. And it was not the opposition that found it. I repeat, it was the IMF's own economists. And the government has accepted that indeed these losses are true.
Let's stay a bit longer in the House of Legislature and speak to our resident correspondent, Kweku Asante, who was at that particular press conference for us. Kweku, so the minority caucus is accusing Goldbod of taking credit for the positives in the economy while running away from the negative side of its operations. Tell us more.
Well, yes, Ken, they point to what they say is the consistent acknowledgement, so-called, of the Ghana Goldbod in claiming that the economy is in good foot because of the activities of the Goldbod. But they say still, the Goldbod is not willing to accept responsibility for certain things. For instance, on the very vexed questions about whether or not the Goldbod has made losses and whether or not the Goldbod's audited financial statements tell the actual story. The minority is clear that yes, they do agree that if you look at the Goldbod audited financial statement, it is obvious on its face that the Ghana Goldbod made some profits or some surplus. But I say that is not a full picture, because if the Auditor General was exposed to the full facts, it would not have come to that conclusion. Listen to the minority leader.
If every one of those service fees and asset fees were collected and kept, why should the losses that came bundled with earning them belong to someone else? You do not get to keep the fees and disown the costs. This is not accounting, that is convenience. And who exactly are these off-takers Goldbod sold discounted gold to? The country deserves an answer. Goldbod is happy to take credit for the foreign exchange it claims to have generated, but it goes quiet the moment we ask about the very trade that discounted sales, the fee arrangement that produced that forex in the first place. You cannot claim the upside of a trade and disown its downside. And let us also be honest about where the real conversation lies. We, the minority, are not here to relegate the profit of Goldbod, the profit Goldbod has published it in its own account. We are here because what happened off the books, the operations, the fee structures, the discounted sales that made that profit possible in the first place. Substance must always be judged over form. Goldbod took Bank of Ghana's money to assay gold and collect its fees. It cannot claim the credit that comes with the revenue while pushing every loss into Bank of Ghana's balance sheet.
Kweku Asante is still with me. Kweku, the minority leader had a message for the Goldbod CEO following the exchange of words between the two. What exactly did he say?
Well, yes, in fact, apart from actually saying earlier on that the bill conditions of the Ghana Goldbod current management will actually be very scary in the future, he's adamant that whatever is going on now is not personal, and that in fact the Goldbod CEO should tone down on what he called insulting language being used against they in the minority for the issues they are raising against the operation of the Goldbod. And that what they're actually doing is in full favor of Semi-Gemfi ultimately for the future, and ultimately to ensure that Goldbod is operating at levels that will ensure that the country actually receives optimal benefit.
Head of an institution accused of losing 22 billion Ghana cedis plus in 1 year should not be talking about our tone. He should be talking about his leisure. Ghanaians can see exactly where the weakness lies. According to the Goldbod, other voices can be taken seriously, not ours. But we want to make it clear, nothing said by us is personal. Every figure we are about to give you comes from the IMF. It came from their own report on Ghana, published this very month. If IMF facts sound personal to the Goldbod and its officials, the problem is not ours. The IMF has already told the country where this loss comes from. In its own words, the losses, quote, are a combination of service and asset fees paid to Goldbod, discount on gold sold to off-takers, into bracket exporters, and most importantly, exchange rate losses from the spread between Forex Bureau rate paid to purchase gold and the city reference rate used for BoG accounting, end quote.
Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin. Well, our research team has been tracking the central bank's performance, particularly its equity position and solvency. And joining me in the studio right now is a member of Joy News Research Desk, Jason Day. Jason, you have been going through the central bank's performance. What can you tell us about its profitability and equity position?
Well, Ken, according to the data that we found, until 2017, the central bank recorded profits ranging from 342 million cedis to a record high of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis, which was recorded in 2012. We tracked the data from 2008, and we found that in 2015, the bank recorded a 1 billion cedi profit, but then it dropped to 79 million cedis in 2016. In 2017, the bank recorded a loss of 1.6 billion cedis, and this loss declined to 798 million cedis, after which the bank recorded profits from 2019 to 2021. The biggest loss was recorded in 2022 at 60.8 billion cedis. We then saw the losses decrease through to 2023 and 2024. However, in 2025, Ken, the bank recorded another significant loss of 15.6 billion Ghana cedis, which is the second highest since 2008. Now, on the question of equity, which is the difference between what the bank owes and what it owns, that is the assets and liabilities, we tracked the data from 2020, and the bank recorded positive equity in 2020 and 2021. However, from 2022 onwards, the bank has recorded negative equity. The highest was 96 billion cedis in 2025. So from 2022 to 2024, we saw negative equity positions, with the highest recorded in 2025, Ken.
So where does the Goldbod and the issue of solvency come in here?
So this is where the domestic gold purchase program comes in, because under the program, the Bank of Ghana, through the Ghana Goldbod, purchased Doré gold from artisanal and small-scale miners, which was then exported in its unrefined form to international off-takers. The objective was to generate foreign exchange, strengthen Ghana's reserve buffers, and help ease structural pressures on demand for foreign currency, which falls under the Bank of Ghana's mandate. However, according to the IMF, the program recorded a gross loss of about 22 billion Ghana cedis. The Bank of Ghana subsequently realized gains from the sale of some of the gold, while the government also provided some support. These things both helped reduce the overall loss to a net of 9.1 billion Ghana cedis. Now, this brings us to the question of solvency and ultimately the bankruptcy. Because despite recording negative equity of 93 billion Ghana cedis in 2025, the Bank of Ghana says it expects to remain policy solvent over the medium-term planning horizon. What this means is that the bank expects its future income and policy-related resources to be sufficient to continue carrying out its core functions. So it's important, however, to distinguish insolvency from bankruptcy, because insolvency is a financial condition in which an entity cannot meet its obligations, which is what we are seeing right now on the Bank of Ghana books, while bankruptcy is a legal process through which an insolvent entity debts are dealt with. So negative equity does not automatically mean that the Bank of Ghana is bankrupt. The bigger question is whether the bank can continue meeting its obligations and performing its monetary policy functions despite the losses and negative equity. Ken.
Thank you, Jason. Joining the conversation this evening is Fred Che Asamoah. He's the MP for Ofinsu North and also a member on the Economy and Development Committee in Parliament. Godfred Bokpin is also a professor of finance at the University of Ghana. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this evening. Mr. Che Asamoah, let me begin with you, because your leader in Parliament today, Alexander Afenyo Markin, used a very interesting term. The phrase was that the BoG is technically insolvent. So what exactly did your leader mean by that? And what figures are you getting from Bank of Ghana's accounts that is leading you to jump into such conclusion, the minority?
Thank you for having me this evening.
Hello, Fred Che Asamoah. Do I have you? Unfortunately, we do not have clear connection to Fred Che Asamoah there, but let's bring in Professor Godfred Bokpin. He's an economist with the University of Ghana. Professor Bokpin, welcome to the program. Do I have you? I'd like you to respond so that I know that I have clear connection to you.
Yes. I'm on the call. Good evening.
Okay. Welcome to the program. Let's begin with the biggest claim that is being churned out, particularly from the minority leader. When politicians say the Bank of Ghana is technically insolvent because it has negative equity, what does that exactly mean in practical terms for the ordinary Ghanaian? And is that even the case as we speak?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening. So independent of what the minority has claimed, and of course also what we have heard from the majority, you will notice that a trend has been emerging. So a trend is emerging where politicians, the two main political parties, let me put it that way, knowing very well what they have been doing and the fact that over time we are systematically destroying or impairing the balance sheet of the Bank of Ghana, find it, they take it upon themselves to go the extra mile to indicate either to defend or expose the dangers associated with quasi-fiscal activities. That is what you see at play here. You will recall from the third quarter of 2021 through 2022, when Bank of Ghana had to take on the government on its balance sheet because we had lost market access, both internationally and then the domestic market, and the defense that the party that was in power at that time put forward to defend the governance of Bank of Ghana at that time. And then also you will notice the position taken by the party in power now, that when they were in opposition, the demonstration that happened calling for the resignation of the governor of Bank of Ghana and all of that. Look, the story is that they know what they are doing. The truth of the matter is that we have found a convenient way of pushing fiscally related costs onto the books of Bank of Ghana that typically should sit on the books of Ministry of Finance. It sits on the books of Ministry of Finance that will manifest explicitly in debt formation. So we may not be able to achieve our debt to GDP ratio target if we take on those fiscal operations. So what we have done over the years is to offload these quasi-fiscal activities onto the books of Bank of Ghana, where the losses, where these costs manifesting in losses will not accrue immediately as part of our public debt. So we get to report a lower debt to GDP ratio because we are not adopting a general government approach to accounting for our debt stock. Meanwhile, huge debt will then sit on the books of Bank of Ghana, which would later require recapitalization from the same fiscal size. This is what we have been doing. So you will see that from 2022, 2023, you could see the losses escalating. And then also, if you look at Goldbod now, the operations of Goldbod, and to the extent that Bank of Ghana has backstopped it virtually in terms of the intermediary role, providing the financing, being the residual risk claimant of this whole domestic gold purchasing arrangement, that also manifests in some losses, technical, economic, and valuation losses on the books of Bank of Ghana, which ordinarily, if Bank of Ghana had not taken on those quasi-fiscal activities, their balance sheet wouldn't have been impaired the way we see it, and some of those losses would have rather gone either to the books of Goldbod or to Ministry of Finance. And it's the reason why the IMF consistently, their recommendation has been that if you want to keep the operations of Goldbod going, they don't have a problem with that, but let's shield Bank of Ghana from this exposure. Then we find other ways of mitigating those losses or where those losses should be treated. You will notice, and here, let me say this, in Ghana, we allow pride, arrogance, and a certain lack of humility to cloud policy judgment. Why am I saying this? We knew that Goldbod was going to play a strategic role in terms of crowding in FX. And I have said time and again that with the introduction of Goldbod, we have seen increasing crowding in of FX from gold production from artisanal small scale. There's no doubt about that. If you look at the volume today, and again, if you are tracking in terms of trading data discrepancy between exports of gold from Ghana and then importing countries, you can see that the gap is narrowing, which can be attributable to the operations of Goldbod and all of that. So it's a good intervention. But the question is, should it have come at this higher cost? And the next question is, if we had been transparent and open to suggestions. And if we had examined the value chain approach from the beginning, before we operationalized Goldbod, possibly these losses would have been minimized. We couldn't have eliminated it totally. Possibly it would have been minimized. That's my position. So we designed this intervention, aggressively scaled up its operation without even anticipating the total cost that was going to come along. And why am I saying so?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this because when IMF initially put forward the losses from Goldbod, gold for domestic gold purchasing, and they indicated losses of around 214 million, the response from Goldbod was quite instructive. What was the response? There are no such losses. They were quite categorical. In fact, interestingly, Bank of Ghana itself, at the beginning, doubted IMF estimates and indicated that those estimates were speculative and that we should wait for the end of the year when the auditors audit the account and all of that. That clearly tells me that we couldn't fully anticipate the cost implications across the value chain. We were muddling through, and if we survive, fine. If we collapse, that is it. But we knew that this was going to bring some FX gains. There's no doubt about that. So, and you can see that. Why am I saying this? So now that the cost started manifesting in the volume that we have seen, the discussion had been, let's highlight the gains so that it more or less overshadow the cost we have incurred. So today the argument is that if you look at the macroeconomic gains and all of that, as if to suggest that even if we lose this entire country for this stability, it will not be compared to the stability we are having. That's a cheap position to hold.
Professor Buckling, hold on for me. Don't go yet. Fred Che Asamoah is joining the conversation as well. He's the MP for Ofinso North. He's also the MPP member on the Economy and Development Committee in Parliament. Mr. Che Asamoah, welcome to the program. Do I have you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you. I'm on the road, so deadline is a bit on and off.
Right. Your leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo Markin, held a press conference earlier today claiming that the Bank of Ghana is technically bankrupt. So what exactly did he mean by that? Those are the questions that many are asking because, yes, it is true that there's been a report of net equity for the past 4 years since 2022. But does that amount to it being technically bankrupt as it's been asserted to by the NPP? And on what basis are you making such allegations?
Yeah, so if your liability tends to exceed your assets, definitely technically...
You would have to speak up for me, sir.
I'm saying that if your liabilities tends to exceed your assets, then technically you can say that one is insolvent. It was on that basis that he made this allegation, even though we are looking at our net assets of about 100.7 billion. That is the foreign assets, whilst you're also looking at your domestic assets as well. But the residual equity is about minus 98.5. So it's on this basis that he's talking about the bank being insolvent, and it's also as a result of a lot of activities that are happening. Most importantly, the one that was raised today, that has got to do with the Goldbod and Ghana domestic gold purchase program.
But if you say that, then my next question will be, when did the minority realize that the Bank of Ghana has become technically insolvent or bankrupt, as many are putting it within your camp? Because this is not the first time that we are reporting net equity, the central bank. So what makes this one so different that you're saying that because of that, we can technically say that the Bank of Ghana is insolvent?
This country just went through an IMF program to restructure our economy, whereby Ghanaians had to fasten their seatbelt, go through the DDP which also helped stabilize the economy. Baumia did start in 2021 with the domestic gold purchase program, which the focus was on refined gold as compared to the dog gold that we're dealing mostly with now. And if these issues, we raised them, if you remember correctly, in 2025, he had called the Bank of Ghana governor and the bank to come and explain issues regarding their building. But when we raised another issue that we wanted the bank to come and explain to Parliament, the bipartisan group, so that we can also ask questions, so that we don't want to incur more losses regarding programs that the bank is engaged in. The majority blocked that. We've learned some lessons from the past, and we don't intend to make sure that this country goes through that losses again. If I heard correctly, partly, my other panelist was attributing some gains. Yes, nobody is disputing that gain. But the question is, how stable is this gain? For me, it's more of a steroid-infused gain. Because ideally, what is really happening as far as our economy is concerned? What is the real GDP growth? What is the real productivity or the production contribution of our Ghanaian citizenry to our economy, with the exception of what we are seeing? In fact, we are talking about gold here, and look at how devastating Galamsey is contributing to our country right now. And if we are to go on this for the next 3-4 years, now that we are even implementing GANRAP, which is focusing on 80% of gold from the small-scale miners, artisanal mining, and now that we also don't have the traceability of where this gold is coming from, that doesn't mean we are, nobody is saying we are buying Galamsey gold. But the question is, where is the Galamsey gold going? Do you understand? So all this put together, and the issues that we raised, when we raised and requested that we have a bipartisan interrogation of Goldbod operations in Parliament, the majority blocked that motion that we filed. We filed the motion in Parliament, but it was blocked. Okay, now the $214 million that was the loss. As now that each one is shifting blame, whether it should be on the books of Goldbod or it should be on the books of Bank of Ghana, we still having to record 1.7 billion. 1.7 billion. The 1.7 billion loss that we record here, like losing 17%.
Right. Speaking of Goldbod, the outfit CEO, Sami Jenfi, has continually denied the accusations, especially from the minority, that his outfit, Ghana Goldbod, is making losses. But the minority still is doubling down through, especially the press conference that was held today, that Goldbod is indeed making losses. It's quite interesting because if you look at Goldbod's 2025 audited accounts, it shows about 5.4 billion Ghana cedis in overall surplus and then 5.6 billion in net assets. So is it the case that the minority knows something that we do not know? That is why people are really debating and questioning where you are getting the figures and the assumption that Goldbod is making losses.
Nobody is disputing what he's saying. But I believe you are also not disputing what the IMF has identified. Am I correct? The IMF has identified that $1.7 billion have been lost as a result of the domestic gold purchase program, right? So my question, which is equivalent to 1.5% of GDP. So the question I'm asking you, whose books should that loss be? If the bank is ready to accept that loss is as a result of their own bad operational activity, then of course we can agree. but we cannot discard. We have lost as much as 70% of our gold that were purchased. We cannot dispute the fact that 1.7 billion is vanished. So the question we are all asking is that we are coming back. We are going to put in a interrogate. Where is the $1.7 billion?
Right. That's a bigger question that Sami Gyamfi will be providing answers to on government's accountability series later tomorrow. And thank you very much. You heard there Fred Che Asamoah is the MP for Ofinsu North and also a member on the Economy and Development Committee. And earlier we heard from Professor Godfred Bokpin, who is an economist. Let's bring you Newsnight. Gemma has the headlines.
Well, we have breaking news for you of a major drug bust at the Accra International Airport as Narcotics Control Commission intercepted suspected cocaine at the airport with a DHL delivery person at the center of it. Also tonight, Hostel Owners Association of Ghana is challenging the legal authority of the Rent Control Department's aggressive enforcement campaign targeting private student hostels.
We don't operate under the rent commissioner. The rent commission itself does not control prices above certain threshold. If they want to control prices, in my own opinion, they should begin from East Legon, where prices are quoted in dollars.
A 13-year-old boy's dream of becoming a law enforcement officer is being crushed by a brutal fight for survival as hunger, homelessness, and the harsh realities of the streets rob him of the childhood he deserves.
So what about if my car spoil and it's at the shop for 3 months? Are they going to...
In business,
Goldbod makes a strong case for local ownership of Ghana's mines as Chief Executive Sami Gyamfi rolls out strategy to add value to majority of gold produced in the country.
Later in sports,
FIFA bans Kerala United from registering new players over unpaid debt.
And much later in the bulletin, Minority Leader Afenyo Markin ditches the suit and tie talk and takes a swipe at government the Gen Z style. Share your views with us either through comments or send us a short voice note on our WhatsApp console 055 11 11 997 and tag us on all social media handles. The details now. The Hostel Owners Association of Ghana is challenging the legal basis of the Rent Control Department's ongoing enforcement campaign against private student hostels. The acting Rent Commissioner has in recent months embarked on a relentless campaign visiting hostel facilities to assess their operations and demand a reduction in their charges. However, hostel operators at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology argue that the Commissioner has no legal basis to question or assess their operations as they do not fall under the purview of the Rent Control Department. Emmanuel Bright Kweko reports.
This is Ashanti region, a hostel called Ambassador Gardens.
The Ghana Rent Department has since the beginning of 2026 intensified enforcement campaign directed at student hostel operators at public universities, including those in Kumasi. This has seen the Rent Commissioner issuing threats of closure for unregistered facilities and those said to be charging exorbitant accommodation fee. Although the Hostel Owners Association acknowledges the concerns for student welfare, the group believes the enforcement campaign lacks a legal foundation. Bishop Dr. Akwesi Owusubi is the president of the association.
We don't operate under the rent commissioner. The rent commission itself does not control prices above certain threshold. Single room and chamber hall apartment. If they want to control prices, in my own opinion, they should begin from East Legon, where prices are quoted in dollars and not in cedis. That's where they should begin from, and not when a group of people have come together to put accommodation for students whom the students cannot be accommodated on campus. And you think you want to defend such students. If we withdraw our services, what do?
Counsel for the association, Michael Jan Owusu, further argues that if admittedly the hostels fall under the purview of the Rent Control Department, the commissioner is legally not permitted to enter a rent out without an invitation.
Even if they were subject to the Rent Act, the Rent Act clearly sets out a procedure for the assessment of rent. It does not give the rent commissioner the power to impose a blanket charge or assessment. The law, the Rent Act and its regulations says that for assessment to take place, the application must be made either by the landlord or the owner or a tenant, somebody in occupation, or an interested person.
Over the last week, students have protested against the exorbitant cost of hostel fees, especially at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. However, the association cites rising construction costs, high borrowing rates, and currency depreciation as major factors behind increases in hostel fees. But property economist and lecturer at the Department of Land Economy, KNUST, Dr. Kenneth Donko-Shiamang, highlights the likely repercussions of the actions of the rent control on hostels.
If you look at around the world, in almost any country where rent controls have been effectively implemented, you see that there's a deterioration in the quality of the housing that is. It may end up in reducing rents, but as a response, landlords will tend to withdraw even the supply of housing on the market. So, for example, if I have a property that is controlled, I will take it off and reclassify it as something else.
For Joy News, I am Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Let's get to the phone lines and speak to Bishop Owusu B. He is chairman of the Hostel Owners Association, and also Frederick Opoku is acting rent commissioner. Let's start with Bishop. What concerns do you have with the rent commissioner's approach to assessing your facilities?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, we have a whole lot of concerns because once you have been given the charge to regulate something, I think it's only fair to get in touch with the stakeholders, have discussions with them, and then let them know your concerns before you come out into the open to say certain things against them. All we heard was that this man went about saying we are charging exorbitant fees, we are exploitative, we are criminals, and that sort of thing. People who have led their lives and been able to put up the buildings, you call them criminals. You see, I remember when he started, I gave a call to him and said we wanted to meet with him and have discussions on the way he is approaching things and the things he has been saying against hostel operators. He first told me, I'm a very experienced public servant. He didn't even know the person he was talking to. I'm a very experienced civil servant. And then later on he said, if I want to have him in Kumasi, then I have to bear the cost of his traveling to him and a whole lot of things. When I wanted to explain things to him, he just hung the phone on me. You see, so if you do things this way, how do you get the cooperation of the people you want to engage with? So that is the first thing. And the second one, he's been going to hostels to say a whole lot of things, threatening to close some of the hostels and that sort of thing. I mean, we are in Ghana. Ghana is a law-abiding country. We have laws that regulate activities and events. So what we wanted to say is this. You go to the hostel and you have cameras with you and you threaten the owners of the hostel. One woman said, I've spent so much. Look at the cost of construction. Look at the cost of materials. Look at the cost of borrowing in Ghana. You don't want to have anything to do with that. But you will want to threaten the person that you close the hostel. The woman even said, well, if that's what you want to do, I will close the hostel myself. Oh, that's a bluff. You see, thinking he's talking to people who don't know what they are doing. So I have a lot of concerns on that.
Let me bring in Mr. Frederick Opoku. You had Bishop Ousubi. Two major issues he talked about. The fact that you are making a wild allegation that his members are criminals.
First of all, let me say a very good evening to our listeners. And I appreciate you having me to talk on this very important topic and issue. This is a national concern today. To begin with, I want to state categorically that these hotel operators are not abiding. They are not, never. And I have reiterated number with that time that as an active rent commissioner, I am working and active in the conference of law. Number one, all what I have asked them to do is to look at Section 10 of the Act and act in accordance. Section 10 talked about assessment. If they are diligent and they respect themselves, and they are now talking about law, the same law, which is still in operation, is talking about if you put a hostel property, no matter how it is, if you want to refer to yourself, the law is rent control is close to the authority to do assessment. Rent control itself cannot do the assessment until you, the landlord, in this case, hostel operator, just respect yourself and come and say, I've done. The law says that I cannot increase, I cannot charge, but come and do an assessment, make an application. They are not making themselves available for this thing. And they think that nobody can do anything. I understand. All what I'm saying is that, and the law also supports it, either the landlord, the tenant, or an interested party can make an application. And I'm telling students to make an application for me to assess them. And I want them to understand clearly that they are running under Ghana Tourism Authority. Let me explain the thin line between, maybe they don't know, and we need to educate them going forward. Now they should understand that Ghana Tourism Authority is limited when it comes to pricing and increasing your rent. That limit is the full power and authority of rent control. And they should understand that Ghana Tourism Authority will come and look at the sanitation, how you are operating, everything is in order, the standards. We don't do it. I have talked about your increment and how you increase that hostel. And I have told them that Section 10 empowers the rent control. In this case, I am the administrative head. Look, we have an LI 369 that operationalizes the act. In this case, the rent commissioner is responsible to ensuring that the Rent Act is enforced, not the minister. The minister is a supervisor that I report to. I want them to learn this. They are making a big mistake. I'm surprised some lawyers have you following them, like blindly. These are legal professionals. And I expect them to read the law. Read it well.
Stop, Opoku, I want to come in here. How many hostel facilities in the country have you visited? And generally, what did you find per assessment?
Come again?
I'm asking how many hostel facilities you have visited so far, and per assessment, what did you find?
In the first place, I am going around. I have never enforced anything yet. I am advocating and advising students. The law says that make an application. And I want them to understand that as of now, I have about 100 applications on my table. I am going to assess them now and tell them how much they're going to charge. They better close the hostel because the law is clear. And I'm standing on my powers and authority to assess them and determine amount to charge from going forward. Enough of the noise making is
Mr. Opoku, I hear you, but I asked of the number of hostels you have visited so far, and generally, what did you find when you went to those hostels?
In fact, as you can see, one, it is not tenantable. And under the law, tenantable in the sense of filth has engulfed their hostels. Their hostel is dirty, it's not hygienic enough for students to live there. I have called on Ghana GPA to also speed up in helping the rent control. I have called Ghana Tourism Authority, who need to assess them that they are operating in the minimum way under Act 2015. And for me,
everything that I saw there, it does not give me any hope. And today you saw that they are not even registered by Ghana Tourism Authority. I am in Sunyani currently. I visited almost about 12 hotels, and none of them were registered.
Why haven't you cracked the whip yet?
Operating illegally. Or illegally. In the first place, don't even exist. If, first of all, you want to operate hostel, you are talking about the law doesn't allow the rent commissioner to go there, and you are not even registered. You are even illegal. You don't exist. So if I say you are a criminal, do you go and pretend as if you are running a business as an investor and you don't respect the laws and you don't even register? So
why haven't you, the question I ask is, why haven't you cracked the whip yet?
The point is that, first of all, I am educating the students who are ignorant to make an application. Have I even done any assessment? So I have never asked them that the amount that they are charging. From the first look of it, I am telling the students that I cannot go ahead to assess unless they make an application. And this is a process. That is why I'm moving across the country and educating the students to come and make an application. And today I'm happy to report to you, hundreds of students have made an application. And even this, the chairman of this KNUST, I have a lot of hostels in KNUST who have made an application, and I'm going to assess him. I'm going to assess him. And you know that when I come to assess him, I will stand up to assess him, and he will never get his way of charging the way they are charging. For me, it's illegal way of doing things. And I respectfully, they must begin to obey the law.
Mr. Opoku, Ken here. So when should we expect enforcement? Because we've seen videos of you on social media entering people's rooms and raising concerns about hygiene and other concerns that you believe that the amounts that are being charged do not correspond with the places that they are sleeping. The bigger question is, when should we expect enforcement of these laws?
I'm aware that this Friday there's a hostel. Let me start an example. A hostel called Grace Hostel. They serve the students, medical doctors in Legon. Somebody has petitioned, and I'm going to invite them on this Friday. And from there, an assessment will begin. Now, I want to let them understand that we are not going to waste time. It's now action, no talking. And all the applications that have come before rent control, beginning Monday, they will see it live and colored. I will not even go to even do what I wanted the public to know. The exploitation, the illegality with impunity that they are perpetrating on the innocent Ghanaians. And today, rent control says we are not talking. Beginning Monday, going next week. I mean, Sunyani today. I should be Accra on God willing tomorrow or Friday. When I get to Accra, I'm going to have a press conference and address Ghanaians for them to know when action is taken and when we are sitting on their cases. And today, I am working with some of the dean of students across the country. We are setting up a student desk across the tertiary institutions, and that they should report this unlawful hostel operators. And we are going to set a desk on campus, and we will sit down, call them, and see the cases on campuses. I believe.
Let me bring in Bishop Owusu be here to respond to the many claims that Mr. Opoku has made. He says over 100 applications from students wanting the rent commissioner to get to the schools, the hostel facilities, and assess them. He also says that he has visited them and they are unhygienic. How do you respond to that? Why are you subjecting the students to unhygienic conditions?
Thank you very much. That's a palpable lie. So, you see, I don't want to use words that would not be, for instance, acceptable on radio. But look at the way this man is talking. Which hostel did he visit and found the conditions unhygienic? Which hostel did he visit and found out that they had not registered with the GTA, Ghana Tourist Authority? Every member of my constituents at KNUST, all of us are registered with a GTA. We are regulated from the university every year before the school reopens. The GTA, the EPA, the fire service, the university staff, and a whole lot of people come around the hostel to expect them. So Mr. Opoku is saying these people do not know what they are doing, but he knows better. I think he has to know that he's working with people. And when he's talking, the talk has to come with some decorum. The way he's been talking, he knows that if there should be any directive for this thing, rent assessment, it should come from a magistrate's court. He has to read the law with which he's working. He doesn't even understand the law. You see, the law separates tenancy from licensing. He has to read that.
Bishop Kenneth here. So, do you accept that you are charging students exorbitant hostel fees? Do you accept that?
No, I don't. Because, listen, if you think you are somebody is charging exorbitant fees, you have to have a standard fee. Which standard fee does he? There are so many things that are comparative. Someone will find 2,000 very expensive. Another one will find 5,000 quite cool. So they are relative. Now, I'm giving you an example. There's a man, an investor on campus here. He has 3 different facilities for a hostel. 3-in-1 costs 3,000. The 2-in-1 costs 6,000. He has put up another one. That 2-in-1 costs 10,000. As we speak now, the 10,000 is full. The 3,000 and the 5,000, they are vacant. I mean, is anybody forcing any student into any exorbitant hostel? You see, there are so many hostels with very, very moderate prices. But the students now want to go to a hotel standard hostel. So you pay for what you choose.
But with the videos that are going round, especially with the ones that I saw on social media, where the rent control commissioner toured, they didn't look anything like a hotel standard hostel. If my eyes really saw correctly.
When I talk about a hotel standard hostel, you are looking for a room with a TV, with a fridge, with an air conditioner. You didn't see this from.
That's what makes a hostel a hotel standard?
That is it. Because when you talk about a hostel, you want something that can your budget that can meet your pocket, and you want something that provides the basic necessities for accommodation. But if you want to go beyond the basic, then you have to pay for it. In Kumasi here, I tell you, you can have hostel accommodation going for 2,500, 3,000, 4,000. But those who you claim to be charging exorbitant fees, 10,000 and 15,000, they are full, and the students don't want to patronize the 3,000, 4,000 ones. And it's the same students who go and make just such complaints. You see, it's a free market. I mean, Mr. Fuku should understand that. It's a free market. Nobody is forcing anybody to go into any hostel. If there were no hostel facility at all that charges from 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, then we could say everybody is charging exorbitant prices. But come to Kumasi campus here. We fix prices. The members of the association, we fix prices with the Directorate of Student Affairs.
Bishop Osubi, thank you so much for your time. He's chairman of the Hostel Owners Association, and Frederick Opoku, acting rent commissioner. I want to give you just 30 seconds to tell us what you're going to do next.
So, very well, what we are doing is that we are going to assess them. Now, we want to see how the law works. Maybe we need to educate them further. That rent control still has the power to assess them. When an application is put through, we have received some application, and we are going to assess them. And whether they laugh, they cry, they will be assessed. And that's what the law says. And they should wait for the assessment to come.
Grateful for your time. Frederick Opoku is acting rent commissioner.
Let's take you to the courts now, where a lawyer for the former chief executive officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Joseph Benka, has described as erroneous comments by Deputy Attorney General that the Constitution allows for the speedy trial of cases. He argues that the Constitution does not permit the expedited trial of selected cases, but rather requires the speedy determination of every case before the courts. Legal Affairs correspondent Fatal Bayaga has more in this report.
The former Deputy Attorney General believes there's a clear case of selective justice in the manner in which the Attorney General and the Chief Justice are handling the high-profile cases against opposition members. Speaking to Joy News at the Accra High Court, Joseph Kwemka stressed that speedy trials are meant for all cases and not a selected few, as guaranteed by the Constitution.
The expedited justice that is being spoken about in the Constitution is talking about all other cases, not only selective cases. You understand what I'm talking about? It is true that the Constitution talks about expeditious trials that will actually lead to acquittal or conviction. But then it doesn't say that you should select cases and do expeditious trial. It doesn't say so. So that expedition is talking about must be across board. If we as a nation will want to actually achieve speedy justice, it must be across board. All matters must be expeditiously tried, not selected cases. So that is where, again, he gets it wrong.
He also said, although he does not want to prejudice the injunction application filed by Afonso Ayubi MP Kojo upon Nkrumah before the Supreme Court, challenging the continuation of trials during the legal vacation, he is convinced the court will grant the reliefs being sought.
The matter has been canvassed before the Supreme Court, and I do not want to take a position that will prejudice whatever the court is likely to say, except to add that the appropriate thing has been done by the court, adjourning to await the outcome, because clearly the warrant that was issued by the Chief Justice has been challenged at the Supreme Court. And not only that, not only the pending writ, but also the application for interlocutory injunction. So, yes, I will not be able to give you straight yes or no to whatever you're talking about. I will not be able to tell you that this is going to be the outcome, because that will be sub judice, and I'll be reading the minds of the Supreme Court. But we are confident that whatever processes have been filed before the court will be upheld to guide all of us into the future.
Meanwhile, the Accra High Court has adjourned proceedings in the high-profile case involving former Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and 7 others to August 27, following the injunction application filed by Nkrumah challenging the directive issued by the Chief Justice for selected courts to continue trials during the legal vacation. The MPA case becomes the latest to be halted by the injunction application after proceedings in the Buffer Stock and National Signals Bureau cases were also stayed yesterday. For Joy News, Fatao Bayaga, Accra High Court.
Well, the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOG, has intercepted suspected cocaine at the airport, and we understand a DHL delivery person is at the center of it. We're joined by investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awuni, who has more details of this. Welcome to News 9. What do we know exactly?
Yes, what we know at this point is that the suspect is in custody, and my sources within NACOG believe that there may be more to what they have busted, and this suspect, there may be others that they are still pursuing. And I'm also getting information that DHL has issued an internal disclaimer that this person is not a full-time employee or not an employee of the organization, but one of those outsourced delivery persons. So these are some of the details that we are picking up.
Do we know whether this shipment was leaving the country or entering the country?
Yes, we are told that this shipment was leaving the country, and it was part of normally consignments that come from South America. And it is very easy to get to our shores because sometimes they come through the ships and other unapproved means. And so it was leaving the country, and the suspect was picked up in connection with this consignment that was leaving the Kotoka International Airport.
What was the quantity?
Yes, we are told a number of people have been picked up within this period, and this particular DHL one, we are told, was a small one of about 1.4 kilos, and that some of them, because of the bigger bust, these days what they do is that they take them through the letters and delivery parcels so that they appear as though these were just ordinary letters or parcels. But my sources within the NACOG say that a number of people have been arrested in the past 2 weeks.
So, when did this arrest happen? Did it happen today?
No, sources are not able to confirm, but it didn't happen today. We are told initially the Farouk we mentioned was, I'm told, a week or so ago, and there is actually another one that his name is being given as one Fiave, and this is the person they are linking to the DHL arrest. The one they say is doing deliveries for DHL, but we are not able to say exactly now when he was arrested.
But do we know who was supposed to receive this parcel at the end of the journey?
That information we don't know for now. What we know is that the parcel was actually leaving Ghana and was intercepted at the Kotoka International Airport, and then the person behind it. For now, one has been arrested, but others are suspected to perhaps be involved, but we don't know the recipient for now. And I'm actually saying they are still investigating, so they don't want to put so much information out there because that sometimes tips off those who are also collaborators in this trade.
Manasseh Azuri, we are grateful for your time. He's an investigative journalist, and the story is that some suspects have been arrested at the Accra International Airport in a major drug bust, and one Farouk and Fiave have been arrested in connection with this. DHL has issued a disclaimer saying the person involved who was carrying the parcel is not a worker with DHL, and we know that the consignment was leaving the country. The amount 1.4 kilos according to Manasseh.
Remember, you can be a part of this show. Let's hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. You can also send us a voice note. Please let it be as brief as 30 seconds. Let's do business, and George Wiafe is here. George?
Hi, Kenneth. Coming up in business, market leader Gold leads in fuel price review today as it cuts petrol to 15 Ghana cedis, 43 pesos per litre, and keeps that of diesel unchanged. And Goldbod makes a strong case for local ownership of Ghana's mines as Chief Executive Samiji Mfiro's program to add value to majority of gold produced in the country. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
Your home could be anything you want it to be. It could be a stadium.
He's just 12 yards out. He shoots.
Oh!
Yes.
What a strike!
It's a goal.
Or a gaming arena. Yes! Let's go! Sometimes a classroom.
Madam, please, I don't understand.
All right. Let's go over it again. Which part don't you understand?
The whole shop.
Or it could be an office.
How many orders are ready? Okay, send them to East Legon first.
Or even a research center.
Daddy, what is the Big Bang Theory?
Wait, let me ask ChatGPT.
You can make your home anything you want it to be, because no matter the experience you want at home, MTN Fiber will power it. Get unlimited internet up to 500 megabytes per second from as low as 299 Ghana cedis. Connect your home or business today. Visit the My MTN app or dial *5057# to check fiber availability and request now.
MTN.
Who dey brush? We dey brush them. Who dey brush? We dey brush them. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth every day and night. Slide the gems and tackle them. Brush the gems away. England gems, we go brush them. Croatia gems, we go brush them. Panama gems, we go brush them. We go.
Whatever the germs, brush them away with the new Pepsodent, now in limited edition World Cup packs. This advert is FDA approved.
Cast your mind back to 2022. The prices were rising. The stress was high. Every liter of fuel felt like a sacrifice. Do you remember who stepped forward first? When others were comfortable with high prices, Star Oil chose you. We cut our own profits so you could keep your AC on, keep your engines running, and keep your life moving without the heavy burden. We gave you room to breathe when things felt tight. Because of you, our star savers, we became number one. Today, the pumps are a battleground. Others are finally cutting prices because they have to. But Star Oil, we do it because we want to. Don't just chase a price, remember a friendship. We were there for you then, and with new innovations coming your way, we are here for you now. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Introducing Ghana's leading pay-as-you-copy photocopier leasing company. Lease an A4, A3, heavy-duty or production machine and pay for only the copies made, or design your own payment plan. Simple and tietia. That's not all. Incredibly, toners, repairs, maintenance, follow-me printing, centralized tracking all come free of charge. Remember, financial prudence is the name of the game. Folks, forget about the expensive gimmicks and be smart. Join the hundreds of satisfied clients across all the 16 regions and every sector of the economy and save over 60% of your printing costs. Visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Be prudent and lease a copier. Terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Cover everything will cover. You and all you love.
Hollard, we cover you.
Hello, good afternoon. I am calling from your bank. We are currently experiencing a system downtime, so we need to secure your account. Please, can you confirm your account number and your login details so we can restore access immediately? Yes, your username and password, just to verify.
Beware of fraudsters. Your bank will never ask for your login details, PIN or password over the phone. Shine your eye. Spot the fraud. Stop the fraud. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Association of Banks.
If you spot the fraud, you go fit to stop the fraud. Make you know they lose God.
Sasso, sasso, every mosquito standing run away. Sasso, sasso, mi se come tonton preko. Sasso, kum tonton preko. Nani sham ne die demonstronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Goldbod is making a strong case for more local ownership of Ghana's mines and the extractive sector. The board maintained that this might be one of the surest ways to ensure that indigenes benefit more from the mineral wealth. Chief Executive of Goldbod, Sami Jemfi, made this strong case in a speech at the National Mining Dialogue put together by our sister station, Asempa FM.
That is why Obuasi can produce gold for generations and still not compared to Johannesburg in industrial depth, urban development, economic opportunities, and what have you. This is not because Obuasi lacks resources. The state of development in Obuasi points to a truism that extraction without intentional policy does not automatically produce transformation. Mines do not build nations by accident. Nations build value through deliberate ownership, strategic partnerships, infrastructure linkages, and disciplined policy management. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we must promote more indigenous ownership of mines. We must support Ghanaian capital to participate in meaningful exploration.
Meanwhile, the chief executive of Goldbod has also announced a new program that would ensure that the majority of gold produced here are refined in Ghana.
When we took office in 2025, Ghana was producing and exporting a lot of gold. And yet not a gram of that gold was refined locally in Ghana. I'm happy to inform you, new chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that under the reset agenda of President Mahama, this year alone, nearly 9 metric tons of gold produced in Ghana has been refined in Ghana before, as will be established by the Goldbod in partnership with the private sector next year, 2027. Will support world-class gold jewelry manufacturing, gold fabrication, and international markets for Ghanaian gold products. The implementation of this project will be led by our subsidiary, Goldbod Jewelry Limited, and serve as a platform for skills, enterprise jobs, and industrial growth.
And that was the chief executive of Goldbod, Sami Jemfi, speaking at the National Mining Dialogue put together by our sister station, Asempa FM. Now, market leader Gold today led the pack of oil marketing companies that moved to reduce prices of petrol at the pumps. Now, this morning, it dropped the price of petrol from 15 Ghana cedis, 99 pesos, to 15 Ghana cedis, 44 pesos. However, kept that of diesel at 17 Ghana cedis, 26 pesos. Now, if you look at petrol was higher than its main competitors, the price of Star Oil, when it comes to petrol, trying to compare the price of the two products. But diesel sold by Gold was lower than that of Star Oil. Our checks of the various price quotes by the oil marketing companies show that most of them are still quoting far higher than the price floor announced by the National Petroleum Authority. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has revealed that the Monetary Policy Committee is often concerned about the outlook for inflation than the current development. The governor disclosed this during the inaugural MPC Educational Observership Program set down with the governor of the Bank of Ghana. The governor revealed that they also decided to ensure that they work with decisions by majority than consensus when it comes to determination of the monetary policy rate.
We are 7 members of the committee. Before we came in, it used to be consensus, where they go several rounds to try and convince everybody, to fall in line, sort of. But when we came in, we said no, it will be majority decision. So the last meeting, for example, was very interesting. We were so divergent views, But at the end of the day, we were able to get the majority decision. Then we go and announce it. If you go for a consensus, more or less, you are constraining everybody to fall in line. But if you say majority, then you are free to go argue along your lines, right?
And that is the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, speaking at the inaugural MPC Educational Observership Program. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it's simplifying the tax system for women-led and other small businesses to encourage more compliance and expansion of the domestic revenue mobilization. Speaking at the 4th Annual Women in Taxation Conference, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapon, says the measures will help improve and also aid compliance for the country.
In the area of VAT, government through the VAT Act in 2025 moved the threshold of registration from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 750,000 Ghana cedis. That ensured that for many small woman-led businesses, they will not be saddled with the process of registering and filing VAT, but they can focus on their businesses. It's also important that in July, Parliament passed an amendment to the Income Tax Act, where businesses led by women and other SMEs that turnover is not more than 750,000 Ghana cedis qualify for informal sector taxation or modified taxation.
Anthony Sapon is the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Premasador Ghana has unveiled its latest product, that is the Onga Tomato Mix, and signed award-winning gospel musician Diana Hamilton as the new brand ambassador for the product. Speaking at the event, marketing manager of Premasador Ghana, Michael Hagan, said that the launch represents an improved milestone for the brand.
So today it's a very great day for us. We're extremely elated. The Onga brand that has been in existence for close to over 20 years is unveiling not just a new product but also a brand ambassador. What we are launching today is the Onga tomato mix. What makes our brand totally different from everybody else currently on the market is the fact that we have taken the Ghanaian consumer into consideration. We've placed the Ghanaian consumer at the heart of this particular product. We are also unveiling Dinah Hamilton as part of our event this afternoon. One may ask, why Dinah Hamilton now? She literally embodies every single thing that we believe in as a brand. She's a career woman who has excelled in every single thing that she does, her professional career and even within her music.
That is the marketing manager of Promasidor Ghana, Michael Hagan. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Gemma.
Thank you very much. George, why are you looking at me like that? Thank you so much, George, for business. Let's do sports now. Benaya is here.
You know why George was looking at you like that? I mean, he was shocked that you're a Manchester City fan.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I heard that there are 19 fans, so she adds up to 20.
She's the 20th fan.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
What's happening in sports?
Anyway, the Ghana Premier League side, Kerala United FC, have been banned from registering players by FIFA after failing to settle a financial obligation owed to a player named Sana Kamara. Now, the sanction communicated by FIFA in a letter dated August 17, 2026 means Kerala are currently prohibited from registering new players as at the national level and international levels. Now, according to the correspondence issued through the FIFA legal portal, the decision relates to an earlier ruling under case number FPSD 23160, in which the club was ordered to fulfill its financial obligation towards Kamara. Now, the exact amount owed to Kamara was not disclosed in the FIFA communications. Now, Kerala will now therefore need to resolve any outstanding financial matter in line with the original decision if they are to have the registration restriction lifted. So that's what's up with Kerala United and Ghana football. They failed to pay a player. They owed him some monies and they didn't want to give it to him. He took them to FIFA, and that's what FIFA have done to the club. So if they want to settle this issue, they have to resolve the case immediately.
Thank you very much, Benaya. We take you into the hidden world of children whose dreams are being swallowed by survival in a special feature, Invisible Lives. While children his age wake up to alarm clocks, breakfast, and the rush to school, 13-year-old Ima wakes up beneath the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, where a piece of torn cardboard serves as his bed and the concrete overpass provides his shelter. Forced to join his mother on the streets to beg for food, Ima watches his peers walk to school while holding on to a dream of one day becoming a law enforcement officer. Ramat Bashiru brings you his story with support from SOS Children's Villages in Ghana.
A year ago, Ajua left Koforidua with her son Ima, hoping to build a better life in Accra. With no stable income and a decent shelter, the streets became their only refuge. 13-year-old Ima wakes up to torn pieces of cardboard, which served as his bed throughout the night. Beside him is his mother, Ajua. Together, they sleep beneath the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange.
I want my son to go to school.
Every morning, Ima follows his mother through the busy streets of Circle in search of benevolent individuals to spare him a coin or two.
I go around sometimes with my mother to beg for money.
Around him, his age mates walk briskly to school, carrying backpacks and lunch boxes. Ima watches them with admiration. His dream is to become a law enforcement officer.
I want to go to school, but my mother says she doesn't have money, so I have to follow her to beg before we can get food.
Hilda Mensah is a child protection specialist at UNICEF.
In 2011, the Greater Accra Social Welfare Office undertook some research. They found out that 61,000 children are living on the street in Accra alone. So if you were to get a sense of what happens in other major cities, that will give you a cause for worry.
Government institutions and civil society organizations continue to rescue children through shelters, counseling, education support, and family reunification programs.
Today, as I speak, we have 236 children in our 4 villages. Even in 2020, we had as many as 685 children. But because we are aligning with the government care reform initiative, we needed to reduce the numbers in the villages. This doesn't mean we are reducing the number of children we are supporting in the country. We are now expanding our support in the communities.
Until every child has a safe home, access to education, and the opportunity to simply be a child, Ghana streets will continue to tell depressing stories that demand urgent action. This story is brought to you in partnership with SOS Ghana.
The desire to own a home can sometimes come with unplanned challenges such as land litigation, disputes with land guards, insufficient funds, and difficulties with mortgage processors. But the Republic Bank Joy News Habitat Fair theme, Home Ownership, a lifetime investment, is designed to help you own a home without these worries. The upcoming mini fair offers affordable and budget-friendly opportunities that can help you become a homeowner sooner than you've been dreaming of. Listen to the Managing Director of Republic Bank PLC, Benjamin Jogboku.
I must say that housing deficit in Ghana as of 2015 was estimated to be about 1.8 million housing units, with urbanization and population growth widening the gap. The challenge is not the supply side, but affordability. More importantly, with a low housing income, borrowing costs, and land litigation has been the problem. However, closing this gap will require a concerted effort, all stakeholders, from government, developers, name them. The public bank financing housing, as you all know, is not a side business. It is part of our gene, with a clear focus to finance mortgage.
And don't forget that the Republic Bank Joy News Habitat Fair 2026 will start with a 3-day mini fair at Achimota Mall from Friday, August 21st to Sunday, August 23rd. It will be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. You've been sending a lot of messages to us. This one is from Michael Entry Buesiaku in Abofu in Okaikwe North, and he says, I'm excited seeing the numbers pointing out to Ghana doing well in our gold trade, but where are the numbers for the turbidity level of our water bodies? Money or good health? Which one is our priority? Nana Ekwamwa Boatin from Ablekuma Central says, isn't it interesting that the activities of Goldbod, which led to a colossal loss, is being justified? These unprincipled people in this government, to the extent that an archbishop who should be preaching the word of God has also jumped into the defense of Goldbod. Michael Ashale is here. Michael, what else have people been saying?
Well, a few of the messages on the hostel conversation you had. This one says it's true. They are charging us exorbitant fees for the hostel, even though we do not spend 1 year in the school. We spend only 8 months in school, yet we pay for the full year. It should come to Tanusu Kumasi Usted campus. I think Mr. Opoku must come down. If he really wants to help the case, he should appeal to government to build hostels and give it out for free if he wants. Does he know the cost of borrowing in the country and what it takes to set up these facilities? Obviously, he doesn't. And that is why he's talking the way he's talking. Thank you very much for your messages. We're grateful. But Kenneth, this brings us to the next segment of Your Say. Let's start with the sound.
MPP ni ye omo ye se nyon omo anka so omo echi go
Interesting one there. Who is that though?
That is Minority Leader Afenyo Markin. You can see, look at my in full clothing. I'm not wearing bareback, but yeah, essentially that is the trend.
What's the meaning of
the meaning of Dawson, Kenneth. Kenneth.
Yes.
Please help us explain. What is Wechigo?
I have no idea. It's a social media trend. Are you sure?
Maybe Adobia Breach Room can help us.
Maybe. Well, that brings us to the end of the news night. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. There are a lot of your messages that you sent to us, but we are unable to read them to you for the sake of time. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
Mine is Gemma. Appiah.
Don't forget to do that too this evening. Brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent. Have a good evening. And right after News 9 is Gig Squad. Adobia is in the studio. Adobia, what is Wechiguo?
I don't know why Michael wants me to answer that question.
Anyway, what's coming up on Gig Squad?
We want to continue our conversation we started 2 weeks ago about how parents can engage their wards using tech content during the vacation. Our focus tonight is on keeping kids safe on the internet, and it's something that